Okay, so I have this Raspberry Pi in front of me. We are going to put it together and install the Raspberry Pi OS. Hook it up with some power and Ethernet and then SSH to it. Let's go! Have you tried turning it off and on again? So here we have the Raspberry Pi 5. We can see some HDMI ports, USB-C, 4 USB-A ports and micro SD and even a power button. I think that is new for the Raspberry Pi 5. And I also got this case with a power LED will shine through that one, and it's also act as a power button. And this is top of the case with a little bit of fan on it, and this is going to be the lid, so it's gonna be at the top. I also got this micro SD card, 128 gigabytes, so that will definitely have room for the operating system. So the Pi goes into here. You can fasten it with 4 screws if you want to. It fits very well. So I don't think I will use some screws just for now, but yeah, it fits really good in here. And let's put on this fan and case on top of here. I think I will have to cut when I have actually put this one in. It's hard with one hand. So this goes like this, and then we are going to put the lid on so it looks clean like this. Very nice. Oops, a bit of it's a bit okay, so now it's completely on. That's not a lot of airflow, but that will do, I guess. Probably would be better with just an open top, but I guess this protects this a bit from yeah, if it's in a bit of a more harsh environment. And the micro SD card goes beneath with the connectors towards the actual Pi, so like this. It doesn't go very far in, so this is actually the furthest you can put it in. Let's take it out. And for my computer I have an adapter from USB-A to this micro SD, so I will use this to put it into my desktop computer, and we are going to put the Raspberry Pi OS on this micro SD card. So let's plug in this adapter with the micro SD card into my computer and get the OS on there. For this we are going to go to the Raspberry Pi site, and we are going to download the Raspberry Pi Imager, which is the Raspberry Pi own program for putting the OS onto the SD cards. So raspberrypi.com/software, there you can find the Raspberry Pi Imager, and you can choose from a lot of different operating systems after you have downloaded this. Raspberry Pi OS, of course, is the recommended one, but if you are doing a project where you are doing maybe a retro gaming for RetroPie or a Pi-hole or a web server, you can download and install Debian, Ubuntu, not only a Raspberry Pi OS. But for this time, let's choose the device, and it's going to be, of course, the Raspberry Pi 5. And here we can see the different operating systems, and yeah, there's a lot to choose from here, of course. So, but in this case I am going to go with the Raspberry Pi OS 64 bits. We can see it says recommended here on top, but it of course depends on what your project is. Here we will choose the storage that I connected, and here we will of course edit the settings. So when we press edit settings, I am going to give it a host name. I'm going to type my username that I will use to log in to the system when I SSH to it. And we can also set the locale settings, and yeah, I'm in Europe. Maybe Stockholm, maybe not, who knows, right? And then the keyboard layout for me is going to be Swedish. And under services, I will enable SSH and password authentication. No other options is really necessary here. Okay, so we will hit the save button afterwards. And now we will go to yes to apply these settings. And all the data will be erased, so I will press yes also. Now the image program will do its thing. I will speed up 20x speed, not to waste you guys time. So you get a feeling at least for how long this is going to take. And here we can say write successful. So we have an operating system on the SD card. Let's plug it in. I have the USB power cable connected. I have also an Ethernet cable connected to my firewall. Could be your home router. I use this FortiGate because it has DHCP on this port, so the Raspberry Pi will get an IP address from my firewall. But you can also use Wi-Fi if you like. If you're doing the same setup as I'm doing with hooking it up to your home router or firewall, you can do ARP-A and you will see IP addresses connected to your network. It will see the broadcasting MAC addresses, and the 224 are multicast on the network, but here we can see the .99 is my FortiGate and the .112 is then probably the Raspberry Pi 5. The 255 is a broadcast address. So the only one that remains is actually the 112. If you like, you can look at the DHCP server. Also, I could look at the FortiGate, but this you only have to use a laptop and the CMD, and you can see the addresses on your LAN like this. It receives pings, and yeah, let's try to SSH into it. So SSH TSS, which was the username I used, and then you put at 192.168.1.112 in my case, and then the password you also set in the imaging program. So we actually managed to log in. That was it for setting up the Raspberry Pi. And here if we do a LSB release, we can see what release it's using. So it's using actually Debian at the base. Have a nice time, hit like and subscribe if this was useful. See you next time, bye bye!